Hey, what's going on, everybody? Your boy Kando here. Yes, my voice might sound a little muffled. It's because I'm wearing my helmet. It never comes off, so don't bitch about it. This is the A. Alright, so today we're talking Star Wars, and why the hell am I playing the Division 2 while I'm supposed to be talking about Star Wars? Well, that's because, as many of you already know, Lucasfilm Games is in bed with Ubisoft, and not just Ubisoft, but Massive and the Snowdrop engine, which is what has created the Division and the Division 2. So, what does that mean for the future of Star Wars games? Well, I'm thinking we might get something kind of similar to what we see in the Division. What we do know so far is that they said that it's going to be a story-driven game in an open world. So an open world Star Wars story-driven game, it could very much be Division-ish. I have this feeling that what they're gonna do is use the same engine, the same type of thing. I'm not saying it's just gonna be a reskin of the Division 2 and Star Wars characters, which I would actually be really fucking cool with, but I don't think it's going to be anything like that, but something similar. I mean, the thing with the Snowdrop engine that I love the most is the smoothness of the characters, the way these guys move, the combat, and just the way they run around. It's just so smooth. The way they dive into cover and things like that. It's a really great engine. So when Ubisoft announced, what was that other game, that open world game that they did with, Ghost Recon, that's what it was. Ghost Recon. When it came out with that, I was so stoked, man, because I thought, holy shit, it's going to be like a crazy, like, MMO version of The Division, and it's going to be so wild. Well, it kind of seemed a little stiff. This is just my opinion, and I really apologize to everybody who likes that game. It's a great game. I'm not shit-talking it or your opinion, but it just wasn't for me because I was so amped and expecting something like The Division, and it just felt stiff to me, and that's because I realized it was a different engine. It wasn't the Snowdrop engine. And this is really what makes the Division so goddamn smooth. So if they're going to make a Star Wars game using Massive and the Snowdrop engine, I'm really excited for that. Another thing with the Division 2, at least, is the world building that's involved. I mean, look at this. This is one of the settlements that you go to that you help build up. There's vendors here where you can buy and sell your weapons, items, things like that. You can do crafting, all sorts of shit. And I mean, this isn't the only one. They're all over the place. You get settlements, control points, things like that. If you look at the world map in the Division 2, it's pretty badass. I mean, there's so many things you can do here. You can just go hunting for resources. You can do missions. You can do what I always, the equivalent of dungeons. These missions where you can jump into and do group play, things like that, and get epic loot. I mean, there's so much shit you can do in the Division 2, and if they do anything like this, if it's Massive and Snowdrop and Ubisoft working on a Star Wars game, I'm pretty safe to say it's gonna at least feel a little bit like the Division. That's what I'm hoping for. I mean, something like maybe you're a bunch of rebels or some clone troopers. I don't know what time period this is gonna take place in. I do have a poll going on my Twitter, which time period you'd like to see the next Star Wars universe video game take place in. I mean, there's so many options. You can go all the way back to the Old Republic. You can go, the Mandalorian era, which is just right after Jedi, basically. You can do like a Rogue One type of thing before the New Hope. You can do something during the original trilogy as well. There's so many options you can go with here. You can go well after the Star Wars saga. Who knows? Like, if they want to do something completely different, there's a lot of options here. They're really expanding the Star Wars universe, as we've seen with Disney Plus, with The Mandalorian, things like the Clone Wars, the comics, the books, everything that they're doing. Disney is going all in on Star Wars. And don't get me wrong, just because they're working with Ubisoft right now, Lucasfilm Games is working with Ubisoft, doesn't mean that they've cut ties completely with Electronic Arts. It just means that they've opened the doors now to work with other developers to collaborate with. Like, look at all the shit going on here. It just looks amazing. And if they can do something like this in the Clone Wars era, I don't even care which era they do it in. As long as it's Star Wars and anything remotely, like, close to this, holy shit. And I don't care if we're using lightsabers or blasters, man. I mean, the character progression that you put together, it's really something. All the drops you get, all the different types of gear you can get, whether it's cosmetics or something that you actually use, like your gear, your weapons, different types of builds that people put together, it's just phenomenal. And if they do anything like that, if they do anything along the lines of the Division 2 but Star Wars, I will shit my pants.
You'll do it.
Now here's some sexy quotes from Douglas Riley, who's the VP of Lucasfilm Games. He said that we've been working on this for a long time behind the scenes, which just, right on, man. And then another thing that he states, again, is that, they haven't cut ties with EA. They have several projects that are coming up in the future that are with EA as well. Working with Ubisoft isn't an exclusive. No, sorry, this isn't a quote of his. This is just me talking now, in case you're confused. The quote ended at we've been working on this for a long time now. But the thing that has me excited is that they've opened the door to other developers. It's not just Ubisoft. They're also working on an Indiana Jones game, and they've reached out to Todd Howard, and they have him helming the project at Bethesda. So this is exciting. All it means is that EA does not have exclusivity rights anymore to the Star Wars games. And I have nothing really against most of the Star Wars games that EA and BioWare have put together.
Right.
But that's pretty much a lie. Moving on, he also says that this is just the beginning of what I think is going to be a very exciting year for Lucasfilm Games. A very exciting year for Lucasfilm Games. I don't know if that just means it's going to be exciting for them because they're going to be working on it within this next year, or if they're actually going to release more information. Either way, if they do, if I hear anything, make sure you're following me on here, because I am going to be covering the shit out of this because I'm a Star Wars freak and I'm super excited. Okay? Love you. Bye.